Okay, so a massive Hollywood legal battle has just been completely turned on its head, all thanks to a series of pretty explosive new documents. We are about to break down a story of power, of strategy, and a public narrative that was, let's just say, carefully crafted, one that these new text messages just totally shatter. Let's get right into it.
And at the absolute center of this whole firestorm is a question that really reframes the entire conflict. When it came to the feud between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, was Taylor Swift just an innocent bystander who got caught in the crossfire, or was she actually a key player, a master strategist, right from the very beginning? The evidence we're about to look at suggests the story is way more complex than anyone ever imagined.
So before all these documents came out, the public story was pretty straightforward, right? It was a tale about a creative clash over the movie It Ends With Us. And the narrative coming from Taylor Swift's camp was especially strong. That she was betrayed by her friend Blake Lively, that she was dragged into this whole professional dispute completely unknowingly, and was just shocked by all the drama. That was the story. That's what everyone thought they knew. And here it is, the whole conflict in a nutshell. On one side, you have the official story, the innocent bystander. And on the other, you have the stark reality that's been revealed in these leaked texts, which show that Taylor Swift wasn't just some passive observer. No, she was an active, deeply involved participant. And that contradiction is exactly what we're going to explore.
So let's get into the actual evidence, because this is where things get really interesting. The whole strategy starts to unfold in text messages that were sent months, and I mean months, before the public drama ever really hit its peak. The language is sharp, it's aggressive, and it reveals a very clear alliance. It all kicks off with a reaction to a potential news story about Justin Baldoni, and Swift's take on it is, well, it's direct.
And here we go, the first explosive quote. In a text to Blake Lively, talking about Baldoni, Swift writes, "I think this bitch knows something is coming because he's gotten out his tiny violin." Okay, let's just pause on that. This is not just friendly support. This is the language of a war room. The tone is so dismissive, so combative. It establishes right from the get-go that she saw Baldoni as an adversary and that she was 100% aligned with Lively. And her involvement went so much further than just personal comments. She was giving direct, calculated advice on how to use her own fame as a weapon in this dispute. She texts Lively, if Justin was strategic, he would be like, no Taylor Swift in the trailer because that gives you more power over the film. That's your ally, not his. Just think about that for a second. She's not just a friend offering a shoulder to cry on. She's analyzing power dynamics and literally telling Lively how to use her, Taylor Swift, as a strategic piece on the chessboard.
So all this strategy then builds up to this one key event, a meeting at Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' penthouse. The story that got out was that Swift just kind of happened to walk in, totally unaware of what was going on. But these texts, they reveal this meeting was anything but spontaneous. It was a pre-planned, calculated piece of theater.
And you can see just how coordinated this was. First, Blake Lively sends Taylor Swift what she actually calls a script to read on her way over to the apartment, while Justin Baldoni was still there. Step 2, Swift replies with a very simple promise. I'll do anything for you. Total commitment to the plan. And then, step 3, the performance happens. This just completely dismantles the whole idea that she was some unwitting participant. This was a planned operation, plain and simple. And what happened right after this performance? The praise. Immediately after the meeting, Lively texts Swift, "You were so epically heroic today. I kept remembering stuff you making shit up about me in lenses and referring yourself as my doll." This is the instant aftermath, you know? Lively isn't just thanking a friend for stopping by, she's praising her for a convincing performance, for literally inventing details on the spot to help their cause. And then we get this text, which is, it's maybe the most damning one of all. Lively goes on, talking about Baldoni, this clown falling for all of it. You're the world's absolute greatest friend ever. This clown falling for all of it. That one phrase just confirms it. They saw the whole thing as a successful manipulation, a game where they had just totally played their opponent. There is zero ambiguity here.
But the strategy didn't just stop in that penthouse. Oh no, it escalated. What started out as this private campaign between two friends ballooned into a full-blown effort to rally some of the most powerful names in Hollywood to their side, pretty much isolating Justin Baldoni inside the industry.
And the language they used in this campaign was just extreme. In a text from Ryan Reynolds to Matt Damon, he describes Baldoni as a malignantly vain, psychopathic, sociopathic feminist, and yeah, that's phminist, probably a sarcastic misspelling of feminist, with almost no sense of boundaries or shame. He even adds, "I cannot believe he hasn't gone to jail." This isn't just airing a grievance. This is a clear attempt to completely destroy Baldoni's character to an incredibly influential peer.
And the list of people they reached out to is a literal who's who of Hollywood and media power. Their outreach reportedly went to Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Vogue's legendary editor-in-chief Anna Wintour, and Bradley Cooper. They were systematically trying to build this coalition of A-listers to back Lively's version of what happened. This was a very, very serious power play.
So what was the point of all this? What was the ultimate goal? Well, the end game was to use Taylor Swift's immense influence as the hammer. After rallying all their famous friends, the final move was to basically give the studio an ultimatum. You can have Blake Lively's cut of the film, which, by the way, is backed by the author Colleen Hoover, and, crucially, by Taylor Swift. Her support was meant to be the final, decisive blow in this whole battle over the movie's final cut. And, it's worth pointing out, they won. The studio did ultimately release Lively's version.
So after seeing all this evidence, the strategic tax, the planned performance, the A-list campaign, and using Swift as the hammer, it all leads to one massive unanswered question. It's a question that just hangs over this entire legal proceeding. And that brings us to the final, huge question. With text messages that reveal her deep, calculated involvement as both a strategist and a performer in a plan to make a, quote, clown fall for it, why wasn't Taylor Swift deposed? Why wasn't she required to give testimony under oath in a case where she was so obviously and deeply involved? That right there is the mystery these documents leave us with.